Hey kiddos, the goal for the last lesson was to learn how to convert between radical notation and rational exponents, talk about what they mean, and how to evaluate it all. Now we'll start with something that is pretty familiar, the idea of a square root. I think everyone out there does know when you square root something, you're trying to figure out what can multiply by itself to make whatever you're square rooting. So for example, when you guys have been asked to square root 25, you all know that that answer equals 5, because this is the thing that multiplies by itself to make 25. So with this 144, we want to take something and multiply it by itself, and we want that answer to be 144. Now, maybe you already know the answer to that question. Maybe you already know what it is. If you do, great. Just hold on to it and watch the rest of this so you can figure out what to do when it's not quite so obvious. The goal, when we don't know exactly how to do it, is to take this 144 and break it up into all the little prime factors that do multiply together to make 144. On the worksheet I gave you guys, you had that link to the prime factorization calculator. You're all welcome to go ahead and take the 144 and do the factor tree thing if you want to. But at the end of the day, you'll find that 144 ends up being 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3, or written with exponents, 2 to the 4th times 3 squared. So we're going to try to keep both of these things in mind. And the idea is we want to multiply the same thing by itself. So that's what these slots represent. And essentially, if I put something in this slot over here, I've got to put the same thing in the slot over here. Now, if I was going to do a straight up brute force, I would think to myself, I can take this 2, put it here, and that means I'll have to put this 2 over here. And I can put this 2 here, that means I can put this 2 over here. So every time I put something over here, I put the same thing over here. I've used up all those 2's. I can take this 3 and put it here, and I can do that because I have another 3 to put over here. And essentially what I've done is I've taken all the factors of 144 and I've split them in half and put half in one slot and half in the other. So that is why we could say that 144 square rooted is the same thing as 144 to the 1/2 power. Because we know that the square root of 144 means figure out the thing that multiplies by itself to make 144. And to find that, I'm going to take all those factors and cut them in half so that this times itself is 144. And then the final answer here, of course, is whatever one of these slots contains. This is the thing that would multiply by itself to make 144. And if I take 2 times 2, that makes 4. 4 times 3 is 12. The final answer is 12. That's how these are all going to go. When these numbers change, the fractions change, the number of slots change. But the idea is breaking the factors up evenly among a certain number of slots based on what that exponent or what that radical is. Let's see how a few more of these go. It's going to be good times.